But before we do that, we just have to be like very clear that we are staying together. Like we don't walk off. We
Yeah, I have this like feeling if we go outside, it's not gonna end well. Like I feel very passionately about not going outside.
Do you want to do a card reading real quick?
I could absolutely do that. I have this feeling that we should not be going outside.
Okay.
Like,
The inherent challenge and thrill of paranormal investigation is that we never know exactly what or who we'll encounter on a given night, and that sometimes unexplainable things might happen. That was exactly the case when we visited the Belvoir Winery and Oddfellows home in Liberty, Missouri. Our team was excited to investigate this gorgeous property, but it was clear from the beginning of the night that something uncanny was happening. In this video, some of our team members discuss the strange events of that night and offer a few ideas about what we might have experienced during this strange investigation.
We were really challenged as a team to interact on different levels than we had before, because all of the energy that was there, and Luke, you got amped up, I got amped up, I felt all over the place. I think Jamie and Kelsey were just like wild children, just running everywhere. And I got mad about that. I'm like, we can't be doing this. And I even talked to Alex at one point. I'm like, we've got to figure something out, because they're just like school kids running around, And so, which I think, Alex, you did agree with me on that. You were like, okay, yeah, we got to rope it in.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they were starting to. At that point, we were at the bottom of the basement. At the bottom
in the basement.
Of the stairs. And that's when we were talking about it, because the two of them started wandering off into like a different side.
Just doing their own thing.
Yeah. Well,
And then they were mad. They were, well, you got mad at us. You don't got to be like that.
even going back to that moment at the bunker where you were going up the hill and I followed you, in that same moment, Jamie, while this is all happening, Jamie's just like, I'm gonna go check this out, and he wanders off into the bunker by himself. It just kept happening. Oh, and then Jamie, you were in the bunker, and they made the noise while we were up
Just
there,
Jamie.
and he's like, "Hey, stop it! Stop moving stuff."
Oh my God, I did. I was like, was that you guys? And you're like, yeah. And I go, stop. I think it's so they were making, in my mind at the time, they were making so much unnecessary noise. And I was feeling something. We were following something, and we definitely knew something was out there. And they're out here just him-hawing around, being funny, and it just felt like, oh my God, stop it! I'm trying to listen. There's spirits that are trying to talk to me. There's sounds that are happening. We're trying to get our recorders going, and here they are snickering like little kids that stole candy out of the candy bowl at Grandma's house. Like,
yeah, which is 100% what was happening. But that's just a good example. Is like, for me, is like, one, there was no communication between Kate and anybody else, and then two, Jamie and the intern were just like, guess we'll just do whatever we want now, because I just did, instead of just like waiting for whatever, it was just like, oh, we're gonna do whatever and start banging on stuff.
I think that the outside energy felt more prankstery, like little kids running around in the schoolyard, chase me, come listen to what I have to say, pulling you every which way.
We're doing an EVP session, and then all of a sudden we hear something, and like, Kate, you just like booked it, like you just made a beeline.
It's just gone.
And we just completely we just dropped what we were doing. Alex was the only one who left a recorder behind, which is good because we got that really weird singing voice.
So like when I was reviewing the audio on that, right, we were trying to figure out that singing. Kate is like, pick up your recorder. You know, you're telling me to go pick it up. Like, you left it behind. I was like, yeah, I know I left it behind. Go get it. And it's like, I'm gonna leave it there. Like, that's the point. But it was odd that it was like, go get it. It's like, this is the weirdest thing. It's never happened before, never happened since, you know, where it was like, you're trying to police somebody else's stuff, you know?
And we got a real taste of, during the daytime, an amplified place, like while we're outside, we're not in a building, we're not confined to one area, we were outside when that all happened. And that's a lot of factors that we've never actually dealt with before. Plus having, you know, I think we all put a little bit of pressure on ourselves for it being such a known place. And it's a place that we've all been very eager to investigate. We were excited to get in there. There was some adrenaline going. There's a lot of activity, a lot of energy. We were trying new things. So there were a lot of little factors that came into play with it. But then being in a place that is so charged during the daytime, I don't think any of us were really prepared for that. We were more focused on, we're doing a walk around, we're getting a feel for everything, we're going to take notes, figure out what we want to do. And then it just, the second we got there, boom, it was happening. I mean, it was right there, and we were in the thick of it.
Yeah, part of me wonders about that is like, is it because the outside, even if we stay within the general grounds of the buildings, the outside is significantly larger than the inside. You know what I mean? And when you're inside, you're confined to hallways and rooms. And so you can't just go a direction, you know, like you have to follow paths. Because I'm not saying that they weren't different or didn't feel different, but I wonder if that was a contributing factor, because you can't just, you know, and start walking in a direction, you know what I mean?
In the inside, while there is still some of that, it felt as I want to pull you away over to here, not like make you run around like a goose chase. I want to pull you away and get you focused over here, and then something happens over here. And so then it pulls you. But it was a very intentional shift of attention. Like, they were pulling us to one area, and we lost track of time focusing on this. And it was almost like they were playing with us to see how we would handle all of the different things that were going on, like the changes in ourselves. The building gets kind of creepy at night. So like all of these different things, it felt like these spirits, energies, people, whatever word you want to put in there, had a lot more power and control over the situation, where outside it felt like we were just Easter egg hunting, just all over the place, you know, zigzagging.
Late in the night, our team hit upon an idea that seemed to explain, at least in part, what had been happening to us throughout the investigation.
No, I think we just hit on something. Kate and Alex and Jamie, but all three of them were talking about how it feels like, what did you say, Alex? Like,
Feels like when you're home alone with your siblings and your parents are gone.
and you're just
picking at
kind
each
of
other.
chaos.
No, well, not.
Well, okay.
That is too.
Yeah. A
It's
little bit.
every person is bringing a different aspect to it. Like Alex was saying, like you're left alone and you want to do everything, but you don't.
Dude.
But you you can't focus, and you end up not doing everything or not doing anything. But you're running around. What?
And I'm like all nervous and like,
Yeah.
oh, whatever, like what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You and I are like,
We're
Kate's like, get your ass back in line.
Yeah. I'm like, come on.
Chill, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 4 of us.
Are you the older?
I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay, kids.
That makes total sense, because the older ones, what do you do? When
Whatever the fuck I want.
Whatever the fuck.
Yeah. And we're like, oh, you guys are doing an investigation. Piss
And
off. We're
Kate's
gonna go
like-
over here. We're gonna go wander. Let's go hang out. Yeah.
When we were downstairs and you were like, hey, we're trying to do this shit, I got mad as hell. I didn't say anything because I knew it was ridiculous, but I was like, fuck you just saying to me?
Yeah.
And then I almost, like when you guys were started, like when it was starting to am I a traditional like kid?
Hey,
you know me.
Hey, come on, guys, come on, yeah.
Like that's what I was about to start doing. Like revert right back to like
That's full on.
That's interesting.
Alex, what were you like as a kid?
This.
What do you mean? I never grew up.
The
I'm the
youngest.
youngest.
You're the youngest.
I'm the youngest.
My brother was 8 years older than me.
So you kind of just fended for yourself in a way. Like,
Yeah, that's like
That absolutely like that makes sense about your personality too, just in, like how you handle stuff.
No, I babysat all the
We're
time.
onto something.
But the question remained, why was this happening?
we've always been big on like, you know, we're not in here to find something evil, or we're not here for scares. We're not here to get, you know, to find darkness or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that was what weirded me out, because my first response was like, oh, what did we just encounter? Should we be worried about that? But I wonder if maybe there is, I don't know, a thought form, like an egregore. We've talked about that before, like with the Harris Carney house, and you know, putting those emotions into like the mannequin that was in the room, and you know,
Yeah.
doing the tours and always putting this like negative angle on this thing, and then lo and behold, end of the night, this is where, you know, this is the area where we're getting the negative stuff.
Like a totem.
Right. I wonder if, because of the history of that particular place, that land, the buildings, the amount of people that come and go there, the amount of people that come with the specific intent of being scared, being spooked out, having a creepy experience, and then like within that community of people going there for that reason, there are these like folk tales of the things that they've seen, the people that they've seen on the grounds. So like,
Yeah.
did we encounter a non-human entity, not a negative thing, but just something that's been cultivated from all of those emotions and energies and experiences there? If that's the case, like if people go there with that expectation, they have an intention of like getting scared, and like we have our own expectation and our own intention where we're not there to be scared, we're not there for that kind of stuff, and like the intentions of the place and our intentions weren't aligning, like it was askew, and like that throws the energy off. Like we're like a bad acting partner. It had a role to play, you know, it wanted to be the scary thing, and we're like, we don't want to do that, but that's not why we're here. And then it just like, just throws things into chaos. I don't know.
As a rule, I have no fucking idea what is supposed to be happening at any of these locations. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of intentionally don't. History is one thing, but like the stories that people tell each other is totally different. And I don't pay attention to any of that stuff, and I don't know any of it. It's like before we got there that first day, I didn't even know that there was a story about whatever caretaker, right? I think is what it was. No clue at all. So I wonder how much that affects just all of it in general, because at least from my perspective, there's no longer any kind of bias, right? It's just whatever happens is happening, and I'm just there, right?
We talk about this at a lot of our investigations, that places are associated a lot of times with negative or evil energy, dark energy, whatever. But we ask a question of, was that manifested? And I think that's kind of what you're getting at, Luke, is like, was that manifested there by so many people going to investigate, you know, all of the old stories? There's a lot of history there. Energy has to go somewhere. It doesn't just disappear. Once the energy is put somewhere, you know, like, it's like the age-old question. When somebody dies, where does their energy go? Where does it go? It has to go somewhere. Science tells us that. So I think, you know, a big thing about Belvoir is there have been so many people in there. And so you can't really separate what is there from the building and what's there from, history, or what people have brought in and manifested.
In those Estes sessions, so in mine, towards the end, there are a couple of responses that come out that just seem really weird and out of place amongst all the other stuff that came out. And then you had one in one of your, because we had to split yours, we tried to move you from that like vortex area. But in mine, at one point I say dead, living, in the middle, which is weird. And you also mentioned in that session that I'm like talking in like full sentences sometimes, which is strange. But then a few minutes after that, right before we end it, I say the word terminus. And you even know, you're like, that's a heavy word. Like, what is that? And so for me, my only point of reference for that word was the end of a line, like the end of a railroad line. That's what I associated with that word, was like, it's the end of a railroad line. But then after that investigation, I looked it up, and terminus is a Roman deity who protects boundaries, which is weird, coupled with the phrase that I came up with, dead, living, in the middle, like suggesting a boundary.
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't know what to do with that.
It is weird.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that goes along the lines of like the non-human, presence that the intern sensed. Were we, get even weirder? Was that like an ultra-terrestrial? Is this like something of a higher order that we contacted? I don't know.
Or my thought process when you say, dead, living, in the middle to me is purgatory. Well, that's where typically dark things go. That's where they live. Or, one would argue somebody who wasn't baptized, their soul stays in purgatory. They don't get, they're in limbo. They don't get to go either place. They're just stuck there. But when we look back on history, like, I'm talking like way back in like Greek mythology or whatever, we're talking about dark things that, like, dark energy goes to this space, this purgatory, and it stays there. And how much dark energy can you put in one space before it starts leaking out?
Yeah, I mean, when I hear living dead in the middle is 100% for me where we operate. Because if you're living, you're just where we are, and if you're dead, then you're dead. That's not a thing we deal with. It's gone. And so all we deal with is in the middle. Like, at this point, everything is equally probable. So.
The problem with peering into the unknown is that very often we don't immediately understand what we're experiencing. Even after discussing the events of this investigation, our team doesn't have definitive answers. We may never know exactly what happened that night. What we do know is that this ravishing property offers an experience unlike most others, a complex history, one of the world's oldest fraternal organizations, a hospital, a nursing home, an orphanage, and a cemetery. As with any person, living or dead, the Belvoir Winery and Oddfellows home is quite large, and it contains multitudes.